Hi guys, welcome back with another Carly video. Welcome to Queens of God. As I was sitting in my bed, I heard my friend. So I realized that usually with my relationship with God, I usually consider him like my father, like a father figure. Even though I have a father figure personally in my my own relationship with my father is very well. And I see him as my father, like my dad, and I know God is like my father. I feel like as though when I talk to God, when I pray, when I go in prayer, I speak to him as a father figure. Like I'm his daughter, woman of God, child of God, and he's my father. That's how I feel like any father-daughter relationship would be, especially, when we look at God, we see him as a provider. We see him as a protector. So I think of him as my father. Even a best friend sometimes that I can come and talk to, but more of a father. But as I was in meditation the other day, I heard my friend. 2 words, my friend. That's what I heard. And it was it was filled with peaceful tranquility. And you guys, all my life, I never really had. I've known a lot of people, as we go about our days from elementary, middle, high school. I've grown to know a lot of people, but I wouldn't call them my closest, bestest friend. What God had me realize is that it's good to have friendships, that like sisterhood of friendships, but you have to set a boundary, okay? Hear me out. You cannot have a friendship with one person and tell them every and anything and expect that person to be there till the end. Expect them to be, as we would say, like back in the times, ride or die. You cannot. I know some of you girls, some of you ladies have that best friend that you feel like no matter what, they won't betray you. They're your sister. They're closer than a sister, this and that. And it's always good because even in the Word of God, we see that he says that there's a friend that's closer to even a brother. You seen Jonathan and David's relationship. That was very close. They were very, very close. And that is 1 out of 10 times, in my opinion. It's always good to have that friend that's closer than a brother, that's closer than a sister. Everybody's not going to have the same exact journey in their life. But me, I've come to know that I don't really have close friends. I can barely count on one finger the friends that I could think of. And even then, I don't talk to them every day. When God called me his friend, it just touched my heart. It was a very heartwarming moment. But when he called me his friend, it was something. I'm not gonna cry right now. I don't want to cry on camera in front of you guys. But it was something very touching that he called me his friend, because I always seen him as a father. I always seen him as a protector, a provider. But when he said my friend, that was deep, because it knows that I'm heading in the right direction. I have the feeling of that I'm being loyal. I'm being, not only are we dependent on each other, but that I can trust in him and he can trust in me. That I won't let him down. And I never really had that special connection to a friend in my entire life. I could really say so. And the closest I do have, I talk to her. And maybe I should give her a few more calls, but I felt like because of so much hurt, so much pain of rejection and abandonment that we can feel sometimes, that I felt sometimes, I feel like it was so hard for me to trust someone, it's so hard. Like when I meet somebody, I already automatically, I'm the friendly type of person. I will, I'm so friendly sometimes, and that can be a bad thing. And I always come off very kind. I grew kind of a tougher skin to accept that I won't have friends, and I learned to accept that, because why not? And I hear so many stories about women that, been best friends with girls that's 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, and they slept with their husband, their boyfriend, their baby daddies, and it's just so much. We can't even trust our own best friend that we call our sister. We can't even trust other women, and we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be, unity, and that's one of the enemy's devices, is to cause division in our sisterhood, is to cause divisions in our friendships, is so that we won't be able to trust one another, and it hurts. It really does. And it took a while for me to heal the friendships that I once have, and I felt like they weren't as genuine as I would hope for them to be. And I remember a prophet woman of God told me that people are not gonna like you. They're not gonna like you. They're not gonna support you because it's you. And that took a hit in my heart, because I'm like, okay, I'm me. I'm like the kindest person, genuine person I know. Like, why wouldn't you like me? And I feel like in a deep way, especially, you can deny it, but I feel like in every way, we want to be liked. At a point in our lives, we want to be liked. I remember my grandmother, she always told me, you do not have friends. And then she's not the only one. Somebody else told me that too. A lot of prophets told me that you do not have friends. So ever since then, I always put my guard up. And I would tell people that I see this, I see that, and they would deny that, no, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I'm like, yes, sister, but I seen it. So you're telling me my eyes are a liar? And I feel like that most women, they wanna try to like you and try to put a good front. Like, yes, they're good people, but I feel like deep down inside, they're just battling a lot that they don't know that they're coming off a different way. They come off as not genuine. So you just have to have spirit of discernment within yourself and within other people. But when God said that I was his friend, it's the most intimate. It was like I didn't care to be liked anymore. It's knowing that God accepts me for who I am. God trusts me for who I am. That he loves me so much, and he is genuine, that he calls me his friend. I don't care to have, like, I really feel like, especially as women, we want to have friends so bad. But I came across a lot of good people, and I came across a lot of not so good people. But either way, I feel like I'm fulfilled. My life is fulfilled knowing that I met some people that changed my life forever, and that taught me lessons, and lessons turn blessings. But I met some great, powerful women that I strive to be until this day. So knowing that God called me his friend is knowing that I'm on the right path. He is your friend, okay? You can talk to God about anything. Don't ever feel like you can't talk to God about something specifically. I didn't want to put on the, it's hot in here. Okay. Don't ever feel like you can't talk to God specifically. Talk to him. I would say he is your father, but most of all, he is your friend. Okay, you know how sometimes we have our parents and they try to, we can't really be friends with them and we hold stuff from them. But I get the feeling that God is not like that. He is not like our parents. He's not like our mom and dad when we were teenagers. We felt like we couldn't conversate with them. We felt like we couldn't tell them how we really feel because they would get upset. God is not like that. You can tell him how you feel. You can tell them the way you feel. You can tell him everything. When God calls you his friend, it is the most intimate thing in the world. Is knowing that I can tell him about my problems internally and externally. I can tell him everything. And most of you need to run to God before you run to so-called friends, okay? I'm not trying to be against having friends. I'm really not. You have to be closer to God than you are closer to your best friend. Because God, he is not a person. He is not a human being. He is God. He is a spirit. He will never fail you. He will never disappoint you. And just know that if you haven't gotten what you prayed for yet, it is either because it is not the right time or you're not ready. And most of the time, if it's not the right time, then you're not ready. So just trust in every season that a blessing will come out of it. He is your friend indeed. He will never fail you. God is your friend. Thank you for watching this video, and I pray I see you guys on the next one. Ciao.